This is the DeLonghi 14,000 BTU Portable Air Conditioner, Dehumidifier and Fan in white, also known as the Pinguino with 8600 BTU DOE. When I first looked at this unit, what caught my eye wasn't just the fancy name, but how solid and sleek it looks compared to other portable A's I've seen and owned for my short-term rentals. The shape has this clean, almost minimal style, with rounded corners and a bright glossy finish. Everything about it feels modern, from the way the display lights up, to the smooth buttons and the sturdy handle that actually makes it possible to roll this big thing around without breaking a sweat. For anyone who's ever struggled with a clunky portable AC, you'll get what I mean. Those tiny wheels make a big difference. The size may throw you off at first. It's not tiny, but to be honest, for something that's powerful enough to cool up to 700 square feet, it's actually pretty reasonable. You always worry with big appliances that they'll look out of place in the room, but this one tucks in near a window pretty easily. The vibes are more modern gadget than giant noisy machine. There's even a dedicated place for the remote, which is a huge bonus for me since remotes seem to disappear all the time, especially when I have guests coming in and out. From my experience using this in my older Airbnb property, getting this set up is not rocket science. DeLonghi gives you a window kit that snaps together, and you just pop the vent out through the window. I've even had to get creative with wood sticks to keep the vent secure. It's sturdy, but not so permanent that you're stuck with it in just one room forever. The power cord is just over 6 feet long, so you have a little flexibility on where you position it. Something I always mention to friends is the importance of keeping the washable filter clean. It really just pops out and I run it under the faucet. It takes about a minute and it cuts down on dust and bad smells. If you've ever used a portable AC without regular filter cleaning, you know how gross they can get. Key features that stand out to me include the cool surround remote. When I first read about it, I thought, how fancy does a remote really need to be? But having lived with it, it's actually super practical. The remote has a built-in temperature sensor that tracks the air where you are, not just the air around the AC itself. So if you move across the room, the AC actually senses the change and adjusts. For me, this means consistent cooling, not that annoying hot and cold feeling you sometimes get from basic units. If you have a large living room or an open space, this feature really keeps the area evenly comfortable, which is honestly something I didn't expect to matter as much as it does. One thing I was skeptical about at first was noise. I've owned a few portable ACs that sounded like I was running a blender on the countertop every time they kicked on. This DeLonghi Pinguino claims to be really quiet, especially in Arctic whisper mode. I'd say it mostly delivers on that promise. Normal ACs in my experience can be really disruptive, especially if you're using them in a bedroom at night. With this one, it's far less of an issue. It has a sort of steady hum instead of that rattle and roar. The listed 53 dBm seems pretty accurate unless you're running it on full blast, in which case, yeah, you'll hear it. But it's nowhere near as loud as older portables I've tried. For daytime use, or even sleeping, if you're not the lightest sleeper, I think most people will be pretty happy with the sound level. It's perfect for anyone who needs serious cooling and dehumidifying for a good-sized room. From my weeks going back and forth with guests checking in and out, this AC really does hold up under heavy use, even on humid days when you need both cooling and moisture control. The dehumidifier actually makes a huge difference on muggy afternoons. I don't feel like I'm in a greenhouse, and guests always mention how much fresher and drier the air feels. That's honestly one of my favorite features, especially given how some guests just expect perfect comfort all year. Another thing worth mentioning is its eco-real feel technology. I know it sounds like marketing lingo, but here's what it actually does. It balances the temperature and humidity automatically, so it cools you down and gets rid of that sticky, sweaty feeling without overworking or running up your electric bill. I've noticed the difference in my power usage over the summer. You get that comfortable, crisp air, but the compressor isn't running non-stop like with cheaper models. If you care about saving on energy costs, or you just want a more environmentally friendly option, this is something to keep in mind. Let me talk about the stuff I genuinely like and think stands out. The build quality feels premium, and I love how easy it is to move the AC from one spot to another because of those solid rollers and the practical hand grip. The remote with its temperature sensor, as basic as it sounds, really does make a difference for comfort and lazy afternoons watching TV from the couch. The washable filter is a win for anyone who's ever dealt with allergies or just hates complicated maintenance. Seriously, It's the kind of simple, sensible design that makes using the thing easy, even if you're not super handy. The unit being quieter than older models is honestly a relief, especially if you need to cool bedrooms or offices where peace and quiet actually matter. Another big plus for me is the window kit. It's sturdy but not a permanent install, which makes this ideal for renters, short-term stays, or people who move their act from room to room. But of course, nothing's perfect, and it's only fair to talk about the things that bug me. For one, while this thing is quieter than most, if you're running it at max power in a big room on a super hot day, you do notice the noise. I wouldn't call it disruptive, but some people might if they're really sensitive. Another little issue is with the dehumidifying setting. It works well in normal humidity, but if you're living in a spot with extreme humidity, you might find it doesn't pull quite enough water out of the air for your tastes. I've had a few times during heat waves where I wished it could do just a bit more in that mode. Also, while the included window kit fits most normal windows, if you have non-standard or super wide windows, you may need to rig something up or buy extensions. That's something I ran into at one of my older properties. One point I want to highlight is that even though the portable aspect is handy, you'll still have to commit to venting it properly. The unit needs to exhaust hot air out a window, so don't expect to drag it around without setting up the vent. It's basic physics, but I do get questions about whether these kinds of units need a window nearby. And at just over 80 pounds, it's portable for the size, but you're not going to want to haul it up and down stairs every day. In conclusion, this DeLonghi 14,000 BTU Portable Air Conditioner is a solid choice for anyone who needs reliable cooling, especially in spaces up to 700 square feet. It looks modern, works hard, and genuinely makes a difference in air quality and comfort. From my experience, it's easy to use, maintain, and move around, making it especially useful for people who rent, move often, or just want to avoid the hassle of installing a wall unit. The key features like the cool surround remote and eco-real feel are more than just marketing. They actually make everyday life a bit more comfortable and convenient. The relatively low noise and smart portability are major wins if those matter to you. I'd recommend this for anyone who wants something a little smarter and more effective than basic portable ACS on the market. If you're looking to cool a large living room, a studio apartment, or need something portable for rental spaces, this is definitely worth considering. As always, don't forget the filter maintenance, and if you set it up right, it should serve you well for years. If you found this quick review helpful, please consider subscribing for more honest takes on products I've actually used. Drop any questions or your own experiences in the comments below. Thank you for watching.